Coming to you from a pile of empty Mountain Dew bottles in my mom's basement, this is The Bog Radio. Heavy music from the west side of the true north. Today we have another 6 bands from Western Canada and an interview with a very good friend of mine later on in the episode. And so to start us off today, we got a black metal band from a point triangulated somewhere in between Edmonton, Alberta, somewhere mysterious in the Rocky Mountains, and Norway. From the album, set to be released on March 10th, Ogimaa, which I hope I'm pronouncing properly, this is Panzerwar with Hail the Seventh Winter. Panzerwar is a one-man project. The guy goes by the name Gautaz, and that's some Norwegian something. The guy's like Norwegian, and maybe there is something in the genes that makes the music sound particularly icy. I'm not sure, but I enjoy it quite a bit, and the vocals particularly, it remind me of one Burzum album I really like. The guy just also popped up out of nowhere on like social media and just started messaging everyone. I guess he's moving to Calgary. He's moving to town. He bought one of Fjell Thyngor's CDs, and so I said to him, I was like, "Yo, you can give me an address and I'll ship it to you right now. Or if you're moving here next month, we'll go off for a beer. We'll have a good time." And so, yeah, I'm gonna give it to him in person, I guess. Hopefully he doesn't stab me. That would be pretty black metal, wouldn't it? The guy was also in a band in Edmonton called Mortillery, a pretty bigger thrash band actually. And so I guess he's taken himself in the black metal direction, and he's moving to Calgary, so he's making splashes in the scene. And I think that this this release will be a really good entry point. And the guy, he might be looking for musicians. I kind of got that impression too. So if you're looking to play guitar or play something in a black metal band, maybe he's the guy to ask. Next up, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, this is some sludgy doom metal, Ogimaa, from their Desolation EP, Torments Endured. boys in Ogimaa made a point to tell me that when they play the song live now, they play it even slower than it is on the recording. And that's something I'd like to hear. Oh boy, that sounds like a ride. And they're in the studio right now, as far as I know, recording some new stuff. And maybe we'll get some really, really slow, some like 10 beats per minute stuff coming out of that. Oh man. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I like really droney music, really like just heavy wall of sound kind of stuff. And if these guys are making songs like the one I just played and then playing them even slower, that's definitely something out there for me. And I'm not sure what exactly it is about doom metal bands, but every time I've spoken to a doom metal band in any capacity, they've been super helpful about stuff. Can't even tell you why. It doesn't really seem like it would follow, but I remember another time in one of the bands I'm in Father Moon, we were looking for some guys to set up a doom metal show with, and we messaged these guys in a band called Panzerwar, who hopefully I'll have on at some point. But they sent us a massive list of other bands. They couldn't play the show for whatever reason. I can't remember what it was, but they couldn't play the show, unfortunately. But they gave us a huge list of other bands to ask. And same with Ogimaa. When I spoke to them about putting them on the show, they sent me a list afterwards of other bands I should talk to, one of which is featured later on in the show, and I'll be sure to mention that. So, if you're shouting out each other, then that's great work. Next up for you guys, I have a thrash metal crossover punk band from Regina, Saskatchewan. This is FPG with the title track from their last release, Other Side. I think I'm really starting to actually enjoy this crossover punk stuff between FPG and Misery Tomb from the last episode. I don't know, I find it's some of the most honestly aggressive music. It's aggressive in like a really honest kind of way, if that makes sense to anyone. It doesn't feel put on. Just digging into their social media a little bit, it looks like FPG, they went into like a no-show playing hiatus back in 2016, and in that time they worked, I guess, exclusively on this release, Other Side, and I think it's great. If it takes 2 years to put out an EP like this, it's definitely worth the wait, and you guys should go check out the whole thing. It's on Spotify, it's on Bandcamp, and it's great, so go give it a listen. And also, if you're the smoking type, they've got some good paraphernalia in their merch catalog. So yeah, no, hop over there, give that stuff a look if it's your taste. Last Wednesday, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. We sat down, we had a couple drinks, and I'm going to present the interview to you guys right now. All right, sitting across from me on the couch today is Christian, also known as Zargor, the guitarist of Fjell Thyngor. How are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How yourself?
It's going great, man. I got my rum and coke here, and we're ready to start this interview. So, tell me a little bit about your experience in black metal in general, because I know you've been active in the scene for quite a long time.
Well, I grew up in East Germany, and we're all kind of pretty young when we started to listen to metal.
Oh yeah, so like how old are we talking here? Like,
I would say like 14, 15
oh yeah.
years. And like I got actually introduced from my friend, right? He was listening to all kinds of metal he started with, and then I, you know how it is, your friend is listening to metal, and then you get into the metal too, like you start to listen to the same music.
That's how it was for me. Like I had a buddy really into Judas Priest, and that's what he showed me. I just lent me Painkiller, and that was it. The light shone down from above,
So actually, I got introduced from my friend, and then I was listening to, or actually he was listening to Death.
Oh, Death, like just the band Death.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess
and Sepultura.
Yeah. That stuff, was that real popular?
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, was that real popular at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was really popular, yeah. And was not... Actually, when I started to listen to metal, I started actually with Metallica. Metallica was my biggest influence.
Oh, yeah. What year would that have been? Like, around what time?
What year was 1991?
91. Oh boy, it's a little while. It's a little while ago, right?
And I got like I could not imagine to listen to different music. Like I don't know. I got introduced to metal, and like metal, I don't know how to say, but it went in your body, in your blood.
Oh yeah,
right?
No,
you can't
feel it.
You can't really explain the thing to like when you get.
Yeah, it's not really something you can explain to someone who's never felt that way about any particular kind of music, right?
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. What about black metal in particular? When did you get into black metal? Because that's, for a lot of people who listen to regular metal like Metallica and whatnot, that's a bit extreme for them. So when you get into black metal, like that's kind of particular. So like, what's your first introduction to that?
That's actually pretty. I don't know. Like it. Even like if I would say, like, even if you would get into the black metal, even then I was still listening to my original roots, like when I started to listen to Metallica and stuff, Halloween, Metallica, and the black metal came like really quick, and all of a sudden, like I guess it was the first wave.
Oh
of
like
black metal,
things like Bathory and whatnot, right?
coming from? Oh, actually, that must be then the second.
Oh, yeah. We're talking
Norway, like
Mayhem,
Dark Throne, Marduk, and Satyricon.
Yeah. That's where a lot of people start. I know, even now, like when people are getting into black metal now, that's where a lot of people start. Especially with Lords of Chaos coming out now, that's going to bring a lot more people in, I hope. Actually, no, you know what? I don't hope that. I hope it doesn't. I hope people stay away. Because when more people show up, things get kind of terrible. But, what about, when did you start playing guitar? Like, what made you want to play the guitar? So you're this young guy, you're listening to metal music. Why?
We actually, the thing is, we grew up, right, in an environment where we had, you would say, a metal club.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
Can't always.
And we had the opportunity, like, if I think right now, like, if I see it from far away, right, because it's a long time ago, and I see back in time that we had a great opportunity. And to that time, you don't really think about it because you were young, stupid, you know, you have no idea what's going on. But now you're old, right? You look back and you think, wow, you had that great opportunity.
Just to play the guitar?
To have a metal club.
Oh, yeah, right.
Sorry. You know, where bands come from all over the world, you know, and play there. We had live music every weekend, you know, and it was great, right? If we were so close, right? It was just, you know, I step out of my door and I was there, right? It was my second home. I grew up there.
I know that like a metal club, a good bar for metal music is something that's lacking now here in Calgary ever since Distortion closed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, right now, I know what I had to that time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, you know, to that time, actually, as a young, you know, kid, you don't know, you're not appreciating that.
No. So,
you know,
like you're saying,
now I appreciate it, and I say, wow, what we had at that time, it was just amazing.
Yeah. So you're saying the metal club
is what the opportunities, the bands came, right? You could see live bands playing every single weekend, and I like when I look at here, like now in Calgary, right? It's just. It's so difficult, like everything is far away, bands have to travel, you know, they not even come here to Calgary, might be it's too far, right?
So you say the metal club is really what kind of pushed you into forming a band because, you know, things are going on all the time and you have a place where you can play and even big bands are coming through to this place and that's kind of where you got your eye.
We were really influenced, right, from the way from Norway, right, from all those bands, and we were listening to so many bands, and we grew up with that. And my friends, we knew from school, right, we grew up in school, we knew each other for a long time, we were listening to the music for a long time, and just one day we decided to start a band, like from zero to nothing. Nobody could play an instrument. you know how it is, like you just start something out of
nothing.
Yeah. Like this guy just bought a drum.
He's ready. He bought the drum. He got a guitar,
bought
bass.
A guitar. The other played bass, and you just started a band, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell me about that band. Tell me about your old band, Val Galdra. that was Val Galdra you're talking about, right?
Val Galdra.
Tell me about that band. Give me a little bit of the story. Like how did the development of that band go? Like, how did it start?
Like what I said, we just started out with like nobody could play an instrument, right? We started, like, it was just, like, everybody was sitting down and try to get tone or, some music out of the instruments.
Just don't know anything, just freaking around with your amps.
Just freaking around with your instruments, you have no plan or no clue what's going on. And, you sit down at home, you are practicing a lot, and, everybody was by himself, to create something. Or you have just in your mind, or the bands you were listening to, and then you just create something what sounds similar, maybe, what you have, like, how you say,
just gonna come together like a unit, a real like uniform kind of sound. You mean?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
We had friends too. They like, from other bands. They came to us and they would tell us, okay, just do it this way a little bit or do it this way. We had a lot of friends.
Yeah. That kind of advice is really invaluable.
Yeah, they give us good advice.
Oh, yeah.
Advice to form music, right? It's a different thing to listen to music or to make music.
Oh no, absolutely.
And that specific thing to figure out to make music, we had to learn.
Yeah.
Right? And it took us a long way until we were stage ready.
No, well, I mean, especially if you're starting from like a point zero, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you better take a long time to get stage ready, because I've seen some bands. It's like, oh boy, did you just pick that up yesterday? Please go home, practice some more. So no, and I mean, you were telling me that Valgaldra, you guys had some bigger shows back in the day.
Well, we started out with small shows.
No, absolutely, like everyone does.
Like we were pretty fortunate to have friends. They played in a band, and they made a CD release party, and they asked us for the 4 to play them. As a, how you say it,
an opening band, yeah.
Opening band.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience for us to support a band we knew as they were our friends.
Was that your first show?
And it was the first show we had, and was in my hometown in Leipzig. And we were really, we killed it. Like,
just show up and just.
We made a big show with fire blowing.
Wow.
That was, intro fire, and
that's some real good second wave black metal stuff. Blowing the fire on stage. Eh?
Yeah. And we kind of. You play the first show and you're kind of a bit stiff, and how
you're
it is.
Nervous, right?
You stand there a little bit. You're not moving.
Well, you're not as comfortable. Like stage is a completely different environment.
It takes a long time if you get comfortable with yourself. You loosen up a little bit, and you rock the stage. You move, right? Mm-hmm. And it took us a long time to get there. And we changed our presence on stage too. We I would say we looked a little bit, like with suit.
Oh yeah.
At the beginning, they look like, okay, they stand there, they look a bit not too nice, Oh
yeah, like a bunch of nice little black metal boys, right? Oh, the nice neighborhood kids in their black metal band.
And then after a while, we became that brutal looking, black metal band,
with the blood and the fire.
Yeah, we got pig blood, and then we spit it around, and we had some leather stuff on, like.
I wonder the kind of shit you get in now for doing that. Like if you went to just like your local bar in Calgary, just started throwing pig's blood all over the crowd, that'd be something. Hey,
well, some bands still do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, but those are like the big touring bands that can pay off all the guys to get away with it. I don't know if we'd be able to do that. Let's give it a shot. Let's do that. Let's go to the butcher shop right now. Actually.
Yeah.
No, let's not do that. But So you talk about Valgaldra, and you guys went through a lot of development as time went by, right? You said
yeah.
I remember you mentioned, like I said, you played some bigger shows. You did the CD release for your buddy's band, and then eventually even went open up for like Dark Funeral, right?
Yeah, that was quite the biggest. I would say that was kind of the biggest shows we ever played. When we opened for Dark Funeral, it was I still remember that time, and when one member of Dark Funeral said to us, "You guys are a great underground band."
Oh yeah.
And it made me really proud.
From the guy from Dark Funeral, that means a lot.
And he's talking about you, and he was really,
It felt really good.
It felt really good.
So on that note, why did you decide to leave? You came to Canada. You left Germany. You left Valgaldra behind.
That's a tough question though, because it was not easy. That step took me a long time to process in my head, and I would say that was the toughest time ever in my life I had to decide I'm gonna leave the band and
leave the country even.
Leave the country too. So I would say in the beginning of, like, you know how it is, your friends all together for a long time, those guys, you stick together, you have a band, you play over 10 years together, you share the stage, you go almost every weekend on tour, not on tour, but for a show. It was easy on Germany, right? You have in every city is something going on, right?
Absolutely.
You just drive half hour, 1 hour, and you have a show going on. And it's time flies by, and after 10 years, I was quite, the band is, people change.
Yeah.
And I had some, I don't know, issues or problems with personalities.
Oh yeah, and that kind of pushed you out the door a little bit.
It was tough, and I was sometimes too unhappy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say into a different way of. Well, it's a tough topic.
No, for sure. I mean, we could probably do a whole interview just about that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure.
Time is running though, but.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But
I just decided to quit the band and to move on with my life, to do something else.
Well, are you happy
Especially if you you get a little bit older and then you think, okay, I want to change something. I want to see something. I want to do something different in my life.
No,
right?
absolutely.
And like, learn maybe a little bit more life experience, a little bit more, another language, for example.
Well, there you go, right?
Get out in the world and try something different, not just sitting in your little town and, just live your life and get bored of it, And, it was a tough decision to say goodbye, and especially when we had an album planned with the.
Oh, really?
Just before I left, and we were ready to go in the studio and make our album.
Well, I'm a little sorry that album never came out, because I was listening to Valgaldra stuff and I liked it. So that's a little sad.
I mean, I still think that time was pretty tough for my bandmates and my friends. Like, I guess they really hated me when I left the band. But
the guys still talk now?
Well, it's not really. Like, it's a long time ago, and it's
time goes on,
Time goes on. I mean,
are you happy here in Canada? You're happy now?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah. I'm happy. I've found everything what I was looking for. I'm not. What do you say? How do you say it?
I don't know where you're going.
Disappointed.
Oh, there you go. Okay. He's not disappointed. Well, I'm glad you're not disappointed. I'm happy you're here in Canada, and thanks for coming out for the interview. That's all we have for today. This is Christian, also known as Zargor, from Fjell Thyngor, the guitarist. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Bill.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that kind of interview, because that's the kind of content I'd like to add to the show as time goes forward. Since I'm going to do one episode every 2 weeks, I'd like to have one a month that's just music. One every 2 weeks that's just like music, like the first episode. and then one that has, like a bit extra stuff. Like I'll talk to people. Like I want to have like somebody on. So if you know someone who would be interested in coming on, or if you want to come on and talk to me about stuff, just let me know, and I'm sure we can set up something. All right, to continue with the musical part of the show, this is some symphonic black metal from Regina, Saskatchewan. This is Nachtterror with Fall of the Sabbath. That song's not very long, but there's a lot of stuff packed in there. Oh man, I really like the clean singing part. We get the two voices harmonizing with each other. I really like that kind of stuff in black metal. Little extra interludes, a little bit of extra texture. Maybe some of my buddies are a little bit more purist, or are gonna give me shit for saying that, no clean singing allowed. And also, it seems like these guys have been around for a long time. Like, I was digging into them just a little bit, just doing some research for the show, and just so I'd have something to talk about. And it looks like that they were posting on forums about their band long before like social media really kicked in, and I found some posts on like a random image board somewhere about Nachtterror from like 2007. So these boys they've been going hard for a long time, 10 plus years. That's actually on the top of their Bandcamp. It says that the album they're putting out is 10 years in the making, and 10 years, like announcing it as 10 years, that's some high expectations. You know, they expect a lot of refinement, a lot of work, and I think that that level of refinement is definitely achievable by a band like this that produces music that's this varied within like even a single song. I enjoy quite a bit. I'm really excited about that release. Next up, we got some death grind from sunny Calgary, Alberta. This is Path to Extinction with The Horseman.
Having on mankind, loving
When I saw Path to Extinction play for the first time, I noticed, just like, how their singer in particular, this really big dude, the shaved head, is just really in your face about his singing style, about just his showmanship, and I really appreciated that personally. He really managed to get the crowd going, and that it was just a really cool, really fun time. I was actually supposed to go see them a couple days ago play at the Brass Monkey with Deathrus, Animosity, and Scalds of Cert, but unfortunately, sometimes unfortunate circumstances pop up and you couldn't make it. I was on my way there, in fact, when I figured out that I couldn't make it, which is doubly unfortunate, backtracking, doing the walk of shame back to your own house, wishing you were at the bar watching some good bands, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I'll definitely come out to their next show, and you should too if you live in Calgary. Come on out. The music is more death, less grind, I find, but I personally, I enjoy quite a bit. I do. It's heavy, it's fast, it's brutal, it's high energy, good for the room, good for listening on your own, good for a bar setting. I'm really sorry I missed that show. It actually really sucks, and I'm sitting here in my house, and I'm not having a good time about it. And even on top of that, like when I heard that Scalds of Cert was going to play, I've wanted to see them for quite a while. I've wanted to see them, and they were here, and I couldn't go, and it's just all around terrible. The experience I'm having right now is terrible because I wasn't at the show. I can only imagine how terrible it is if you didn't even know the show was happening and are now only hearing about it in retrospect. You'll be kicking yourself even harder than I am right now. I know that a bunch of the guys in Path to Extinction have been around the scene, and they still are in other projects too. So I'd like to have one of those guys on the show at one of these days, just to talk about their own experience, because I think that's a real fun time. All right, so just like last episode, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the last band, and then I'm gonna let them play us out. This is Sandwich from Vancouver, BC. Sandwich, like a sandwich, but a witch of the sand, rather. Every band I talked to, most of the bands I've talked to for this episode have been working on new stuff. All of them, they're like, oh, we're working on a new album. Oh, we're working on a new this. We're working on a new that. And that's the kind of stuff I like to hear. I want to hear that. I want to hear more music. Give me more music. Always more. And Sandwich is no exception. They said the same thing to me. They were working on something new, which I'm excited about, because the song I got for you today is great, in my opinion. I really enjoy it. I can feel it in my gut while I'm listening to it. The song resonates with me. I'm not sure exactly what it is about it, but I like it a lot. The music itself, it makes me think of the West Coast, and I mean naturally, the nature of the West Coast. I mean, it's thick, it's wet, it's heavy, you feel it, you can think of those big trees, it's foggy. I just can't explain it to you any better than that. And I don't know what it is about this particular song, but just the melody, the main driving melody of it, especially at the beginning, it reminds me of some kind of bird. I picture some kind of songbird in my head, and I'm not quite sure why, but this is Sandwich from Vancouver, BC, with Children of a Lesser God. I'll see you guys for episode 3. Peace.